Welcome to episode 166 of Gods and Heroes of Ancient Greece. My name is MyLinda, Butterworth, and today we continue with the tales of Odysseus and the story of Odysseus and Laertes. The following morning, Odysseus prepared for a journey. "We too," he said to Penelope, "have almost drained the cup of sorrow, you with grieving for me, and I with longing to return to my native land. Now that we are together again and masters of what is ours, you shall see to what property still remains in our house. What the suitors have wasted will be made good partly by the gifts they presented at the very last, partly by the spoils and the gifts I brought home with me. But I must go to the country, to my old father who has been mourning my death for so long. Now, since the rumor of the suitor's death is bound to spread sooner or later, I advise you to withdraw to the women's quarter with your handmaids, and give no one an opportunity to see or question you." So saying, Odysseus slung his sword over his shoulder and woke Telemachus and the two herdsmen who were to accompany him. All three armed, and at sunrise, Odysseus hastened through the city with them, but Pallas Athene shed a heavy mist about them, so that no one could see the four travelers. They soon reached the farm of old Laertes, one of the first he had acquired to swell the number of acres which were by his inheritance. In the middle was the house, and all around it were stables, sheds, and other outbuildings. An old Sicilian woman saw to the needs of her master in that remote and lonely place. When they stood before the door, Odysseus said to his companions, "Go in and have a fatted boar slaughtered in honor of my homecoming. I myself will go out to the fields where my father is probably toiling, and see if he recognizes me. Then he and I will return, and we shall feast and rejoice." With that, Odysseus handed his sword and his spear to Telemachus, and the three went into the house. But he himself took the path to the fields. First, he crossed the orchard. In vain he looked for Dalius, the head gardener, for his sons, and for the rest of the field workers. They had all gone to fetch stones to fence the vineyard. When Odysseus got there, he found his old father alone. He was busy transplanting a vine. The old man looked like a laborer. He was wearing a coarse, soiled smock, covered with patches, and had protected his legs from thorns by wrapping around them strips of leather. His hands were gloved with old hide, and on his head was a goat-skin cap. When Odysseus saw his father in this wretched attire, he was so shaken with sorrow that he had to support himself against a pear tree while he wept bitterly. Nevertheless, he could not resist the temptation to question his father and try him with gentle reproaches. He went up to the old man, who was just loosening the earth around a tree, and said to him, "You seem to understand fruit growing. Vines, olive, fig, and pear trees are all well tended, and the vegetable garden is excellently cared for too. There is only one thing wrong, and please do not be offended if I tell you frankly what it is. You yourself are not well taken care of, old man. It is not right for your master to let you go around in soiled, patched clothes. To look at you, one would not think that you were a servant at all. Your build is kingly. A man like you deserves a bath and good food and the comforts due to old age. Tell me, whom do you work for? And is this country really Ithaca, as a man I just met told me?" He was, I must say, a discourteous fellow. He did not even bother to answer me when I asked him if a friend to whom I am bound by ties of hospitality was still living here. I want to visit him, for you see, long ago I gave lodging to a man in my own country, and no dearer guest ever crossed my threshold. He came from Ithaca and told me he was the son of Laertes. I gave him the best of all I had and honored him with gifts when he left me 7 talents of the finest gold, a silver pitcher embossed with flowers, 12 tapestries, tunics, and mantles, and 4 lovely and skilled handmaids whom I let him choose for himself." This was the tale Odysseus invented on the spur of the moment. When his father heard it, he lifted his head, his eyes filled with tears as he said, You have indeed come to the land you inquire about, stranger, but base and arrogant people whom all those gifts you mentioned would not satisfy live in it now. The man you are looking for is no longer here. Had you found him, oh, how amply he would have requited you for what you did for him. But now, tell me, how many years have passed since your guest, since my son visited you? For it was my son, my poor son, who now perhaps lies at the bottom of the sea, or whose flesh wild beasts and birds of prey have devoured. His parents could not even clothe him in a shroud. Penelope, his faithful wife, could not close his eyes and weep at his bier. But you, where did you come from? Where is your ship? Who is with you? Or were you a passenger on another ship and landed here alone? I shall tell you, said Odysseus. I am Eperitus, son of Eupitus and Albus. A tempest drove my ship from Sicania toward your shores, and it lies at anchor not far from the city. It is 5 years since Odysseus your son left my country. He was light of heart when he went, and birds of good omen accompanied him. We hoped to visit each other often, and each vowed to speed his guests with splendid gifts. The world grew dark before the eyes of old Laertes. With both hands he took the dark dust and strewed it over his gray head and broke into loud lament. Then the heart of Odysseus was stirred and almost burst in his breast. He rushed to his father, flung his arms around him, and cried, it is I myself, father, and about whom you asked. After 20 years I have come home. Check your grief and tearful lamenting, for I shall tell you the good news in a few words. I have slain all the suitors in my palace. Laertes looked at him in amazement and finally said, if you really are Odysseus, if you really are my son, give me a clear sign so that I may be sure. First of all, father, said Odysseus, look at this scar. It came from the wound a boar dealt me in the chase, the time you and my mother sent me to her old father, Autolycus, to fetch the gifts he had promised me. But you shall have other proof. I shall show you the trees you once gave me, for when I was a very little boy and went to the orchard with you, we walked between rows of trees, and you told me the names of the various kinds. 13 pear trees you gave me, 10 apple trees, 40 fig trees, and 50 vines which bear great clusters of grapes. The old man could doubt no longer. He reeled, fainting against his son, who caught him in his sinewy arms. When he had regained consciousness, he cried in a loud voice, Zeus and all the gods, I know it is my son, if indeed the suitors have been punished. Then he turned to Odysseus. Hardly have I got you back when I am tormented with fresh anxiety for you, my son, he said. Because of you, the noblest families in Ithaca and the surrounding islands have lost their sons. The city, the entire region will rise against you. Do not be afraid, father, Odysseus comforted him. Let us not brood over these things now, but go to your house where your grandson Telemachus is waiting for us. With him are the 2 herdsmen who tend the cows and the swine, and they have prepared our meal. When they reached the house, they found Telemachus and his companions cutting up the meat and filling the cups with wine. But before he sat down to eat, Laertes was bathed and anointed by his faithful old servant. For the first time in years, he put on a kingly robe, and while he was fastening it, Pallas Athene approached, straightened his bowed shoulders, and made him tall and majestic, so that when he joined the others, Odysseus looked at him in astonishment and said, Surely one of the immortals must have increased your stature and strength. And Laertes replied, Had I felt as young and strong yesterday as now, I should have fought at your side, and many a suitor would have fallen beneath my blows. As they sat down to the meal, Delius and his sons returned from their work in the fields. When they saw Odysseus, they stood still in amazement, as if rooted to the threshold. But Odysseus spoke kindly to them. "We have been waiting for you," he said. "Come and eat with us now, and save your wonder for another time." Then Delius ran to him, kissed his hands at the wrist. "You have come home at last, my dear master," he cried. "Our wish is fulfilled. But tell me, does Penelope know, or shall we send her a message?" "She knows everything," said Odysseus. "No messenger is needed." Then the sons of Delius crowded round their king, and together they feasted at the board. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales, many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.